This season started. Woohoo! Can't finish it until we start it. Oh, no, that's it. You can borrow maybe Rabbi Chorney's talus.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Early Good Yontif, early Shabbat Shalom. We're going to start with the Mincha service. Joey, do you know what page it's on? 431. Thank you. That would have taken me a long time to find that page. Page 431 for the Ashrei as we start this wonderful, heady, important, high aspiration, high expectation season with the Ashrei.
Ashrei Yoshevetecha, Oriel Chasela, Ashrei Shkachalo, Hashem Shahaf, Tov and Kol Vrachim Avakom Asa. Tzadikin B'chol Dracha V'chasi B'kom Asa. Tehilat Adonai Bepi V'Yivrech Kol Basar Shem Kachol Ilam V'Ed V'Yanachnu Nevarechya V'Yatav Ilam Hallelujah.
Please rise, Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויגדש שמי רבה,
Amen.
ויאמר דברך חירותי ומיכחותי, בחייכון ומיכון וחייכו בישראל, ועגלה וזמן קריב אמרו אמן.
Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabba Mavorach Le'olam Amemaya Yitbarach.
יתברך וישתבח ויפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה
בריחו.
לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירם ביומה ויאמרו
Amen. We'll do the Mincha Amidah Nehecha Kedusha. What that means is that Larry will begin with the blessings on 433. We say the Kedusha responsibly with him on the bottom of 434. And then we go back to 433 and say the Amidah to ourselves in a quiet whisper.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu v'Elokei Avotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Nora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol v'Zocher Chasdei Avot u'Mevi Goel V'neihem L'man Shemo B'Yahava Melech Ozer Moshe Magen Baruch Ata Adonai Magen Avraham. אתה גיבור לי למרנוי מחיים איתי מטרב להושיע מוריד הטל לחכי החיים בחסד מחיים איתי ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים את השני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך מלך מימין ומחיים מצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום ככתוב על נביאך וקרא זה אל זה ואמר קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלכות כבודו ומתם ברוך יאמרו ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו ובדברי קודשך כתוב לאמור ימלוך לעולם אלוהי ציון לדור ודור, הללויה, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים מקדושך נדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
If you're still davening, please continue at your own pace. We continue with Kaddish Shalem, page 441.
יתגלה ויקדש מרבה, ביאמר דברי חיותי ומלכותי, וחי יכון ויכון וחי לכו בישראל, בעגלה בזמן קריב מרמן. איש מרבה מבורך, אלמו מיומיה, יתברך וישתבח ויפאר וידרמה ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמו לקודשו, בריחו, לעילם מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירם ביומה ויאמרו אמן. תתגבל צלותון ובטון לכל ישראל קדמו ובון דבשמיא ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום הרב מן שמיא וחיים עלינו ויעקב ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ויעקב ישראל ויאמרו אמן.
Aleinu 442.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל. על כן נקבל לכל אלוהינו, לראות מהרה בתפארתך, להביא מן הארץ, ולמקרוא יקראתון. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני מלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Kaddish Tome Mourner's Kaddish, page 443.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה וזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן.
יהי שמי רבה
מבורך לעולם מיומיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילם מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן ביומה ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיא וחיים עלינו ויעקב ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ויעקב ישראל ויאמרו אמן.
Shakoach Larry. You know, when a Torah scroll tumbles out of the ark at the very beginning of Rosh Hashanah services, it means the year can only get better. I want to put that in context. If you didn't realize, a scroll tumbled out, and I'm in real time processing how we're going to handle that. But the reason why it was where it was is that Giovanni, one of our staff members who's been with us for so many years, realized that as we were redoing this ark, that had it been on the floor of the ark, the Torah scrolls would have basically been on the floor of where we're standing. And Giovanni realized that couldn't be. The Torah has to be higher than the floor. And so he jerry-rigged basically a level to put the Torah up because he wanted to elevate the status of the Torah, and something about it must have been unsteady. But it was actually in the name of elevating the significance of the Torah by one of our staff members who's not a Jew, but is so connected to our spiritual forms and norms because he's been part of us for so long. So we'll obviously take care of that. But I'm actually moved by what inspired him to create a bridge because he wanted to make sure the Torah was lifted. And I want to thank him for that. I'll repeat your answer. I'll repeat your answers for those who are here on Zoom, but help. Stay. Good, Mike. When you hear the notes, ya da da ya 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 ya, you can sing along. I da da ya ya da 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 da. Pause, because I don't want to give away too much yet. You know what's coming next. What is it? What memory or association is brought up for you when those notes are begun to sing? Shout it out or raise your hand and I'll repeat it for those on Zoom. Where does it bring you to? Where does it transport you? Larry.
My youth, when I was first going to shul.
Larry said his youth, when he was first going to shul, brings you right back there. It skips over decades. How many decades? I don't know. But a lot of decades back to there. Where else?
Sitting with my parents in shul.
Rebecca said, sitting with my parents in shul. I'll add a commentary on that, sitting with my grandparents in shul. I used to go with my grandfather, Erev Yom Rosh Hashanah, to Lincoln Square Synagogue in New York, while my father was leading services out in a reconstruction of synagogue on Long Island. And to me, that music is sitting next to my grandpa of blessed memory. Who else? Where does it bring you? Yes. Wow. Fred was saying at his Orthodox shul in Borough Park, it was, growing up, that when we got to that music, the volume would increase. Everyone knew it. You could hear it 3 blocks away. Okay, that's something we should be reaching for. One or two more. Where does it transport you to? What does it connect you? Those notes. Yeah, Judy.
My grandfather leading the choir at the Jacksonville Jewish Center.
Wow, Judy said her grandfather leading the choir at the Jacksonville Jewish Center. Yafeh. Anyone else? Music is very powerful, right? You hear just a few bars and it takes you through time and space. And particularly for those of us, and I'm speaking to the choir here, pun intended, for whom Rosh Hashanah isn't Rosh Hashanah without Erev Rosh Hashanah. And that's not to besmirch, God forbid, anyone who will show up tomorrow, will not have been here tonight. But for some of us, without those notes, it's not Yantif. And wherever you are transported, to whomever and to wherever you're transported, as Kaner Chorny begins singing those notes as we get into Mariv, I hope those are pleasant transitions through your memory bank and through nostalgia as we come to the year 5784 and introducing it with the music that tells us under no certain terms it is indeed Rosh Hashanah. I invite you to rise. Actually, we're going to do first 2 paragraphs of Kabbalat Shabbat. We do an abbreviated Kabbalat Shabbat when Rosh Hashanah begins on a Friday night. So we start on page 4 of the Machzor, the Psalm for Shabbat, and then Psalm 93 right after that, page 4.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת. צדיק הייתה מרי יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו הודינון לסיבה דשנים לרעננים להגיד כי אשר אדוני צורי ולא עלי תבוא. אדוני מלך גאות לבש. עדותיך נאמנו מאוד לבית
kodesh Adonai leorech yamim Adonai leorech yamim.
Kaddish Yatom, Mourner's Kaddish, on page 26.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. V'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. V'agala u'vizman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehi shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shemei dekudesha berichu. Le'ela, le'ela, mikol berchata v'shirata, tush v'chata v'nechamata, damiram be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Ve'imru.
Amen. And now we rise for the Baruch Hu as we introduce that Nusach as a part of the liturgy, page 5. After the Baruch Hu, you may be seated.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Le'olam ba'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'ram ha'ariv ha'rivim. Umavir yom umevi layla umavdil bein yom uvein layla Adonai tzvaot shemo el chai v'kayam tamidim lo chaleinu leolam va'ed baruch atah Adonai hamariv ha'ravim avat olam Beit Yisrael chad. Ki hem chayeinu ve'orech yameinu uvahem negei yomam balayla ve'ahavatecha al tasim imeinu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kol Malchuto Le'olam Adonai Elohim emet ve'emunah kol zot v'kayem aleinu Yu Adonai Eloheinu Zalatoinu. ומלכותו ברצון גילו עליהם מוישהו בני ישראל לחיינו שירה ושמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נור התהילות עושה ולב מלכותך רבנך פוקע לפני משה זה לי אנו ויערו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר יפדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גל ישראל השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום אמירנו ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ושלום אתה ועד עולם ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל
Amen. We rise for Vishamru, bottom of page 9.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם איי 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 ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ והיום השביעי שבת נפש.
Top of page 10.
תקראו בחודש שופר לכסף ליום חגנו כי חוק לישראל הוא משפט לאלוהי יעקב יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבו וילמד יברח ימרותי וימליך מלכותי וחי יחון ויום יחון וחיי לכל בית ישראל ויגלה ובזמן לקריב ימרו אמן יהי שמירה ומבורך לעולם לעולם לעמיה יתברך וישתבח Yitzlach, Yitzlahar, Yitzlamami, Yitznaseh, Yitzadar, Yitzaleh, Yitzalale, Shemni de Kudisha, Virichu, Leila, Leila, Mikol Virchata Vishirata, Tushvechata, Vinechamata, Damiron Vehama, Vimeru, Amen.
The whispered Amidah begins on page 11. Make inclusions in the red because it is not only Rosh Hashanah, it is also Shabbat. Because it's Shabbat, we continue at page 18. Please rise or remain standing for Vayachulu.
ויכולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויכל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה, ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, אלוהי אברהם ואלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל אלוהי לאה, האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא העליון, קונה שמיים וארץ, מגן אבות בדברו, וחיי מתים ולמרו, המלך הקדוש שאין כמוהו, המניח לעמו יום שבת קודשו, כי בו רצה להניח להם, לפניו נעבוד ביראה ופחד, ונודה לשמו בכל יום תמיד, מעון הברכות, אל ההודות אדון השלום, מקדש השבת ומברך שביעי, ומניח בקדושה יעמדו שני עונג, זכר מעשה בראשית. אלוהינו אלוהי אבותינו רצי ומנוחתנו, קדשנו במצוותיך, ותן חלקנו בתורתך, שבינו מטובך, ושמחנו בישועתך, וטהר ליבנו לעבדך באמת, ונחילנו אדוני אלוהינו, לאהוב רצון שבת קודשך וינוחו ישראל מקדשי שמך, ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen. Kaddish Shalem, page 119.
יתגדל ויקדש מרבה, יעמד יברח כרותי וימליך מלכותי, וחייכון וימלכון וחיי תכה בית ישראל, וגלה בזמן קריב וימרו. יהי שמי רבה מברך, להלל ולהלל יתברך וישתבח ויתברך רומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר יתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה, בריחו לעילה לעילה, מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תשבעתה ונחמתה דבינם בימה וימרו, אמן. נקרא צלת Tahonu Jandaka Israel, Kadamon Vishmaeli Meru Amen. Ishlama Rabba Min Shemaya, Vichimalina Belko Israeli Meru Amen. Ase Shalom Vim Roma, Uyase Shalom Aleinu, Belko Israel Meru
We're about to say Kiddush on page 24. Please remain standing. We'll be led by Rabbi Joshua Roshowski. And just a sentence about Rabbi Joshua Roshowski. The fact that we get to bring Rabbi Joshua Roshowski in as our second service chazan, it's like having Aaron Judge as your backup right fielder, right? It's unbelievable that we have the bracha of his spirit and his voice, who's one of the most influential trendsetters in Jewish music and Jewish liturgy. Alive today, we get to have him for these days, and we welcome you and your whole family, and it's so lovely when you come back home to Beth Am to daven with us and to teach us. Welcome, Rabbi Roshowski.
It's an honor to play on the Yankees for 1 week.
What's that?
It's an honor to play on the Yankees for 1 week.
Please rise for Kiddush, page 24.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar bana mikol am, v'romana mikol lashon, v'gidshanu b'mitzvotav. V'titen lanu Adonai l'nebi ahava, et yom hashabat hazeh, v'et yom hazikaron hazeh, yom zichron teruah, be'ava mikra kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta, v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim. ודברך אמת וקיים לעד, ברוך אתה אדוני מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש השבת וישראל ויום הזיכרון. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Aleinu, page 25.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teis gedula leotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpechot adama, shelo samachel keinu kahem, v'goyer aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu karehim u'mishachavim u'modim livnei melech malchi hamelachim hakadosh baruch hu shem tashamayim Kakatu v'toratecha Adonai himloch leolam va'ed v'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz v'yom hahu yihei Adonai echad u'shemo
We turn to page 27. You may be seated for a Psalm 27, which we've been saying since the beginning of Elul, which we say through Hoshana Rabbah.
Achanti meit Adonai otavakesh. Achanti meit Adonai otavakesh. Shivti beit Adonai Kol yemei chayai, lachazot v'noam Adonai, u'livaker v'heichalo. Lachazot v'noam Adonai, u'livaker v'heichalo. lirot v'tuv Adonai be'eretz chaim. Kavel Adonai chazak v'metzibecha. V'kavel Adonai.
Kadisha Tom, Mourner's Kaddish, page 26. Remember to add in the second Le'ela, which you do throughout the high holiday season.
Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah.
Amen.
V'alma divra kivrutei v'amlich malchutei. V'chayechon uv'yamechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uv'izman kari ve'imru. Amen. Yehi shemei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'amei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yithalal shemei dekudsha berichu. Le'ela le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechamata damiran be'alma ve'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Osei shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen.
Good Shabbos, everyone. Good Yantiv Chag Sameach. It's my 15th year leading high holiday services at Temple Beth Am. It's my first year having a fight with the microphone. My 24th year doing this as a full-time rabbi. It's never not a special thing to usher in the season, and particularly with all of you. So many of you are so committed, particularly to this service. I'm not sure how it started, but this service evolved into being one of the places where at the end of it, before sharing a quick Dvar Torah, I share Hakarat HaTov, gratitude to the members of our community and staff who really helped make this place what it is. It's not because this is the largest gathering of the high holiday season, but because it seems inappropriate to start another year in this community without a tiny bit of appreciation expressed towards those who deserve it most. It's an incomplete list, and it's an incomplete reference of the things that they are due, but it feels the right way to start the year. First, as I say every year, if at any point during the season, or really the year, but particularly the season, you run into any members of our facility staff or security staff, please thank them. They are not overpaid. They are not underworked. There's nothing that could happen in this community with things being set up the way they're supposed to and us feeling safe on our campus without their being committed to their work as if it was a holy purpose. And believe me, they appreciate every time someone says something to them and they're not expecting it. There's no small task. There's no small technical element. There's no small aspect to the way the chairs are set up. The number of hours it takes to make this look and be the way it is hard to comprehend. Please give them the blessing of your gratitude. I want to recognize and honor one who's amongst us tonight, who is really committed to really the centerpiece of any traditional Jewish community, and that is the Daily Minyan. Michael Harris, who's with us tonight, couldn't possibly be more committed to ensuring that this community lives out its values in having a minyan every morning, every afternoon, both so that people can say Kaddish, and because praying 3 times a day is a Jewish obligation. Maybe it's the most central obligation. The year ended on an inauspicious note. For those of you who are on the Daily Minyan WhatsApp group, we had the very, very rare, I'm proud to say that it's very, very rare, I'm sad to say that happened, non-minyan last night, the last weekday mincha of the year. And even though most people are responsive when the WhatsApp group sends out an emergency, we couldn't get a minyan last night. And it is certainly not due to any lack of focus or attention by Michael. If you're not a daily minyan goer, we're not asking for 365 days a year, but a couple of nights a year. Mornings, we almost always have a wonderful, robust minyan. But you can't imagine the impact that a couple of nights a year, rather than staying home and watching one more Netflix show, come to minyan, and particularly in the winter when minyan is early. It allows us to proudly say that we provide this as a service and as service to this traditional way of doing Judaism. Michael, we really thank you and honor you and are in awe of your commitment to this mitzvah in this community. I want to recognize by name and just a few of their achievements, the people that I work most closely with in this community, the members of the senior staff who lift up my work, make it better, and are the ones that earn this community its status as being an exemplary organization committed to its members and committed to its values. I want to thank and express gratitude to Rabbi Shapiro for helping, particularly as COVID emerged, making the Shabbaton really the highlight programmatic weekend of the year, turning the YLE, Youth Learning Engagement world, into the You'll Love Everything world, YLE, and making Shabbat morning a buzz with program after opportunity for the youth in our community, and just growing that part of our institution with new ideas every week, every month. Thank you, Rabbi Shapiro. I want to honor and recognize our executive director, Cheryl Goldman, who is everywhere and anywhere and knows more about, who's forgotten more about this institution than any of us will ever know. And is not always or often up in front of the microphone, but we're only able to be up at the microphone doing what we do because Cheryl is so committed to this institution. And particularly this year, you'll hear more about this later on, found a way to turn house cleaning into endowments and looking for every opportunity to secure this institution's future. Cheryl, we thank you for your undying efforts to help make Temple Beth Am as beautiful as it is. I want to recognize Dr. Erica Rothbaum, our head of school, who really makes such a name for herself in the city and in the country for being as committed as she is to Jewish education, and is about just unveiled to the Board of Trustees and is going to be unveiling to the community soon a tremendous and really lightning quick overhaul to our campus to make sure that by the time school begins next September, nearly every one of the needs for which we originally hoped to build a massive middle school building right over there, but we're not able to do that project now. We're going to do a series of projects that are going to hit 85 to 90% of those needs. And she's constantly reconsidering options, constantly imagining the best and most efficient and most affordable ways to bring our school forward. And I'm in awe of her devotion and of her strategic thinking. I want to recognize Rabbi Schatz, my colleague, for learning series, bringing in so many different scholars from within our community and beyond every season, every topic, for essentially single-handedly, along with a tremendous lay community, inventing our Chevra Kadisha, making sure that our community could provide that service to those, that holy service of being there to prepare those for burial, for resurrecting the food pantry, which many of you read about, to make sure that people both in our community and beyond who are food vulnerable have an opportunity to satiate themselves with dignity, for creating the, how are we calling it, the Taba Capella, the Temple Beth Am Choir a cappella group, and which has become such a popular thing so quickly, and just being there with a smile and a joke and tremendous commitment to this community. Thank you, Rabbi Schatz. And to Rabbi Cantor Chorney, who weaves so mellifluously back and forth between those roles and titles of being a rabbi and being a cantor and being a thinker and a leader and a producer of so many of the important ideas that end up getting implemented in our community. So many of them start in her incredible mind, and who has built in ways that you may not even be aware of such a strong programmatic partnership between the synagogue of Temple Beth Am and the School of Pressman Academy, which you would think would be an easy thing to craft. It's been done so delicately and so significantly to make sure that our nusach, our music, our approach to davening on the shul side is matched by what's happening with those who are coming through our school program. And 10 years plus into her role here is doing the very thing. She continued to do the very thing that you said, Cantor Chorney, in your interview 10 years ago, which is to really make other voices soar and rise, and make them feel that they are contributing as beautifully as they are. So we thank you for living out that promise and showing the greatness that's possible in humility. I also want to recognize our president, Mark Samuel. it seems like he's finishing his first decade of leadership, not his first year of leadership. When I think about what he's accomplished, incredible personal touch, as if he's an extended member of the clergy team, doing everything he can to raise others' achievements up, somehow adding the weight of what seems to be 2 full-time jobs onto his already full-time job of running his business and being committed to his family and his exercise. And I want him to know, if he hears this eventually or if he's listening now, that I learn from him every day. And there are many more who are deserving, but I want to move from there into a short word of Torah. I have a distinct memory as a child of being on the bus on the way home from day camp one day. I don't know, maybe 10 or 11 years old. And the bus ride or the minivan ride, it probably took half an hour. It felt like 6 hours because it was the end of a day. I was socially awkward. And this particular van ride, I was just being teased mercilessly. When you're being teased amongst peers, the last thing you want to do is to show your weakness, right? To give them the satisfaction of producing a tear. And I remember the tears welling up and doing everything I could to keep them inside. I remember exactly where the drop-off was. It was at the library in Woodbridge, Connecticut. That's where the parents picked them up. And it felt like an eternity until we got to that parking lot. I got out of that parking lot. I got off the minivan with my backpack. I got into the front seat of my mother's car, and I turned to her, and I looked at her, and I wept. And the tears came out from endless reservoirs of vulnerability. To this day, my mother, may she live and be well, is one of the people in whose presence I'm most comfortable and most capable of crying, and also in whose presence my laughter is most free-flowing and raucous. She is someone who opens up for me the full spectrum of emotions from all the extremes. And the extremes of those moments, both of them, feel tremendous. It's tremendous to laugh fully without wondering if you're laughing too loud. And it's such a relief to be able to cry, because we're all crying all the time inside, but very rarely do we let it out. And she's always been that presence for me, in some ways more than almost anyone else in my life. I was just blessed to spend a few days with my parents in Connecticut. There's some health issues that brought me back, and we had some intense days, and there was laughter to the point of tears. And also because we're dealing with some heavy things, tears that needed to come and felt like a relief themselves. And as I think about what it's like to be in the presence of a person, could be a parent, could be a friend, could be a trusted counselor, you might even experience this in the presence of the Holy One, where everything that you offer emotionally is accepted with grace. Think of a verse from the book of Psalms that I only came across recently. In the book of Psalms, there's some verses that we know so well because they're a part of our liturgy. We sing them over and over again. And it's a large book. There's some verses of Psalms that I'm no problem admitting to. I might literally have never come across, or if I have, they haven't registered. And this is a verse that if you come to my Learn and Sing on the second day of Rosh Hashanah around 12 or 12:15 in Pilch Hall, we're going to linger on and we're going to sing to a new tune that was composed this year by my dear colleagues, Rabbis Yosef Goldman and Annie Lewis. The verse is, Nodi safarta ata. God, you have counted my wanderings. Everywhere I meander, you know. You know what they are. Sima dimati benodi. God, place my tears in your flask, in your container. Halo b'sifratecha. You somehow have a record you've written down and are able to hold every one of my tears. Whoever wrote that line is ascribed to King David. Whoever actually was the author probably felt, or at least pretended to feel, in the presence of the Holy One, what I feel in the presence of my mother. However many tears I cry, you can hold them, make space for them. And however much I need to laugh It will never be too much in your presence. It's an amazing thing to have that as a spiritual reality, to feel that your relationship with the Holy One is one in whose presence all of your tears can come out. And it can also be the object of great exultation and ecstasy. We've got both of those extremes throughout the high holiday season. Just for a second, think about the relationship between the shofar blow of Tru'ah, which is triumphant, a victory, a military achievement, a new year, health and happiness, and the shvarim, whose sounds and words, the word shvarim means brokennesses, things that are shattered, torn apart. In one instrument, in one moment of the high holiday service, we're going to be arms raised in victory and glory, and hearts broken because of how hard it is sometimes to be alive. The same shofar is supposed to wake us up and break us down at the same time. We sometimes think, and I certainly think about this ideologically, that it's healthy to find a grounded, illuminated, sophisticated center. I think it's a mistake to assume that we should spend our lives emotionally in the center, unless it's a center that is created as an average of extremes that we're allowed to express freely. I'll share with you a teaching that was shared if you're on the Jewels of Elul listserv that comes out for the holiday season by a man named David Ambrose, who is an activist on issues of poverty and child welfare. He wrote the following: balance supposes there exists an equilibrium that is ideal to maintain a desired state of being. He continues, I'm skeptical that balance is a worthy goal. At each moment of my journey in life, there is always too much or too little of X or Y. That is as it should be if you want to live for the fullest. I nourish myself in the richness of the struggles that I choose to be a part of, and in that I find the payoff that others find in achieving balance. As we launch this year, I bless you with having the capacity to allow this season and this year to be one of extremes, proper extremes, defensible extremes, right? Extremes that stay within the categories of morality and health. But may it be a season and a year where you find yourself constantly in the presence of those people, and maybe even that God who can hold all of your tears, extract your mightiest of laughs, and allow you to live with your emotions fully present, with each moment being as full as it possibly can, with the balance created only in the average of the good and the hard, the joyful and the sad, the laughter and the tears. God can hold all of that. Shana Tova. Tomorrow morning, I won't pretend to remember when all the services are beginning, but they're all beginning at some point. Rabbi Chorny and I begin outside here in the tent at 9:15. Rabbi Schatz and Warshawski begin in the sanctuary at 9 o'clock. I will be giving my sermon tomorrow morning here. Rabbi Chorny will be giving her sermon in the sanctuary. Library meeting begins also at 9 o'clock in the gymnasium. Family service begins 10:30 in the chapel. And then different things happening on second day. And come back tomorrow night because we do this tune again, and we'd love to have a robust minyan throughout the high holiday season. We're going to conclude with Yigdal.
Just one thing about day 2, just because you might need to prepare for it. On day 2, there are going to be different offerings, and one of them is going to be a movement offering. So you can come in the clothes that you're in, but you also could come in clothes that are going to be easier to move in. And that's going to be at 10 a.m. in Pilch Hall with Rabbi Carrie Chaplin. So just as a way of preparing yourself and the outfits you might wear for the next 2 days, I just wanted to make that note.
And we end with Yigdal on page 28.
Yigdal Elohim chai v'yishabach nimsa v'yeinei tel mitziuto echad v'yachid ki yichudo ne'lam v'kamitzof le'achduto Ein lo demut haguf v'yeino guf lo naroch elav kedushato kadmon lechol davar asher nivra rishon v'ein reshit l'reshito hino adon olam Lechol notzar Yorei gedulato u'malchuto Shefa nevuato nitano el Anshe sekulato v'tifarto Lo kam Yisrael kema she'od Navi u'mavit et emunato Torah temet natan li'amoel Hayat nevio Ne'eman beito Lo yachal lifael V'lo yamir dato Le'olamim lezulato Tzofei ve'yodea Zitarenu Navid lesof davar B'kaid mato Gomer leish chesed Hinifalo Noten lirashara Kirishato Yishlach leketz yamin Nishichenu Liftot mechakeketz Yeshuato Metim yechayeha V'rov chasdo Baruch adehad Shem tehilato Metim yechayehel V'rov chasdo Baruch adehad Shem tehilato
Chag Sameach, Kedantev,
Chag
Shabbat
Sameach.
Shalom, Shana Tova, salutation, salutation, salutation.
Okay. They haven't installed the sweaters yet.